Hi and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to talk about 3D layers and how to import them into Photoshop, what you can do with them, etc, etc. So the first thing you want to do is open up a document that you're going to import it into. So I've opened up this blank document, 1000 by 1000 pixels, and I've filled it with white. So I'm going to go to Layer, 3D Layer, New Layer from 3D File, and there you have my 3D object folder open and two 3D files in here, and I'm going to open one of them. Before I do, I'll tell you that they're 3ds files. They're actually 3D files and you can get them off the internet. They're widely available and there are some places where you can download them for free. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one, and there it has imported that 3D file into my document here, and over here you can see that is my 3D layer, and thumbnail on the layer, you see that some controls open along the top here on the toolbar. These ones here are to move it around the screen, to make it smaller and bigger, and to turn it around, and they're a bit hard to explain, and I suggest you just go in there and play with them until you get the hang of them. They're not the easiest things to use. This one, for instance, it's like you're pulling strings, and you pull it that way, it goes up, you pull it down, it goes up. Right, the view, this will just set default views of the object so you can view it from different angles. We'll just leave it there on right. This, you can change the lights, so you can make it lighter or darker. This 3D file is a bit dark, so maybe I'll leave it on that. CAD optimized. The render mode, you can change that. There's the options. I'm going to just leave as it is, but you could make it into wireframe, solid, transparent, and all the other ones in there. Let's just go back up on that. This one, this will enable cross section, so it will cut it in half, and if you flip it, it will show you the other half. So I'm going to uncheck that and uncheck that. Go up. Now with this you can, sorry, I made a mistake there. Once you've moved the object using any of the tools above, you have to apply the transformation just like you do any other object when you transform it. So I'm going to apply that transformation, and I'm going to open up the layer styles box, and you can add all the normal layer styles onto this, so you can give it a stroke and anything else you want to. I'm not going to go into that now because I'll go into layer styles plenty of other times on other tutorials of mine, so I'm just going to come out of that. The other thing you can do, if you want to apply filters on this, it's a bit more difficult, and you can't really apply a filter onto it and still keep it as a 3ds file. So I'll show you what I mean. If you go to filter, they're all blurred out. You can convert it for smart filters, which we'll do now, and then that's actually converted it for smart filters. Now for instance, I can go filter, blur, give it some Gaussian blur, and blur it out just like you would any other render. But now when you try to open up the control panel to move it around as if it was a 3D object, you'll get this message, which I'll just cancel out of, and it will open up another document with the original image in, which you can manipulate as a 3D. So what it's actually doing, just close that, it still references the original document, the original 3ds file, even though it's no longer editable as a 3D item. So the 3D item, as you just saw, will be opened in another document. Now if I was to save this file now, it would save as a PSB document, which is a large document file, and I could reopen this document and it would still come out with these layers, and I could still double click on this thumbnail and it will still reference the original file as long as you still had the original file. I'm going to show you one other thing, and this is the directory where once I downloaded the 3D file, I placed it into here, and you get two files with the 3D file that you download. It might come in a folder that you save to a desktop or wherever, and you get the 3ds file, and then in this case you get a BMP file, which is all the information which builds that 3D file. So the 3ds file references the BMP file. If you get rid of this BMP file and just keep the 3ds file, you will have a 3D object, but it will have no rendering on it, no effects on it. It will just be a blank document. I can show you what I mean. I'm going to delete that BMP file, and then I'm going to drag this and pull it into Photoshop, and then it asks you if you want to change the size. I say no, and it's going to read that document there. And as you can see, like I was explaining, it's giving you the 3D object but without all the rendering. You can still get your controls up and you can still move it around. It's still a 3D object. It's still got that 3D ability, but it's just got no rendering and no effects, the basics left on it. So I'm going to close that. Don't transform, and no need to save that. And there's one other thing that I'd like to mention. When you have your 3D layer open, I'm going to open up a different one here because the BMP file was in the recycle bin for the other one. So this is, let me turn off this layer here. This is another 3D file I've got of a machine gun. You can still use the window, animation window, and I'll just get this to the animation frames, and I'll take this a couple of times. I'll just do this very quickly, and then you can turn off that, maybe turn off that, add a new frame, and then turn off that one, turn on that one, get them controls, spin it round to there, and then press enter to apply that, and then you can add another frame, turn off that one, turn on that one, double click on the thumbnail to get the controls, and then turn it around a bit more. That's fine. Press enter to make that happen. Let's play and let that render up, and you can see it's like a spinning gun. You obviously, if you're creating an animation, you would tween it, add more frames, and etc, which I've been into before. So that's the end of this tutorial. So that's a very powerful feature. It's something I haven't spoken about before, so I hope you understand it a little bit now. I hope you use it. Please do use it, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As always, I look forward to seeing you next time.